Have you ever heard of a city frozen in time? Imagine a place where you can walk down streets exactly as they were almost 2000 years ago. This place is real, and it is called Pompeii. Pompeii was a busy Roman city in the south of Italy, full of people, shops, and beautiful houses. It sat peacefully in the shadow of a very large mountain. This mountain was not just any mountain. It was a volcano named Mount Vesuvius. The people of Pompeii did not know that their giant neighbor was sleeping and that one day it would wake up in a very powerful and frightening way. They thought it was just a regular mountain, perfect for growing delicious grapes and olives on its rich, fertile slopes. So, what exactly is a volcano? Think of it like a giant spot on the Earth's skin. Deep beneath the ground, it is incredibly hot, so hot that rock melts into a thick, sticky liquid called magma. Sometimes this magma, along with gases and ash, builds up immense pressure. It needs to escape, so it pushes its way up to the surface through a crack or a weak spot. When it bursts out, we call it a volcanic eruption. Mount Vesuvius is a special type of volcano called a stratovolcano. This means it is a tall, cone-shaped mountain built up from many layers of hardened lava, ash and rock from past eruptions, making it particularly dangerous when it finally blows. Life in Pompeii, before the eruption, was lively and full of activity. The city was a popular holiday spot for wealthy Romans from the capital. Its streets were paved with large stones, and they were always crowded with people. You would see merchants selling their goods, from fresh bread baked in outdoor ovens to colorful fabrics and pottery. Children would be playing games in the streets, and people would gather at the public fountains to collect water and chat with their neighbors. The sounds of craftsmen hammering in their workshops and the chatter from busy taverns, known as thermopolia, where people bought hot food and drinks, would fill the air from morning until night. The city had everything a Roman citizen could want. There was a huge amphitheater, a bit like a modern football stadium, where thousands of people would gather to watch exciting gladiator fights. They also had theaters for watching plays and concerts. To relax, people went to the public baths. These were not just for getting clean. They were like community centers where friends could meet, exercise, and gossip. Many houses in Pompeii were grand, with beautiful gardens in the middle called peristyles, and walls decorated with stunning paintings called frescoes. These paintings showed us that the people of Pompeii loved art, stories, and color in their daily lives. The trouble began on a late summer's morning, on the 24th of August in 79 AD. The day started like any other, but then the ground began to shake. These were not the usual small tremors the people were used to. Around midday, a tremendous bang, louder than anything anyone had ever heard, ripped through the air. Mount Vesuvius had woken up. A gigantic cloud of smoke, ash, and pulverized rock, shaped like a huge pine tree, shot miles up into the sky. It was so enormous that it blocked out the sun, turning the bright sunny day into a terrifying darkness. The people of Pompeii looked up at the mountain in horror, finally understanding the danger they were in. Panic swept through the city streets as a rain of small light stones called pumice began to fall from the sky. At first, it was like a strange kind of hail, but it kept coming down, hour after hour. The stones were light, but they piled up quickly, like a thick grey snowstorm. Roofs began to creak and groan under the immense weight. People tried to flee, grabbing their children and a few precious belongings. Some ran towards the sea, hoping to escape by boat, while others hid in their cellars, praying the storm would pass. The air became thick with choking dust and ash, making it difficult to breathe and see. As the day turned into night, the worst was yet to come. The giant cloud above the volcano became too heavy to hold itself up and collapsed. This sent a super fast, super hot wave of ash, gas, and rock hurtling down the side of the mountain. This deadly wave is called a pyroclastic flow. It moved faster than a galloping horse and was hotter than a baker's oven. There was no outrunning it. It smashed into Pompeii, knocking down walls and destroying everything in its path in an instant. The intense heat and poisonous gases meant that anyone left in the city had no chance of survival. In just a matter of hours, the entire city of Pompeii, along with its smaller neighbor Herculaneum, was completely buried. The pyroclastic flows continued, wave after wave, covering the city deeper and deeper under a thick blanket of ash and pumice. When the eruption finally stopped, Pompeii was gone. It lay hidden under more than 6 meters of volcanic material. The once vibrant city, full of life and laughter, had fallen silent. It was as if it had been wiped off the face of the earth, a lost world buried beneath the ash of the very mountain that had given its soil such richness. For hundreds and hundreds of years, Pompeii remained lost to the world. The deep layer of volcanic ash hardened over time, perfectly preserving everything it had buried. People forgot that a city had ever existed in that exact spot. Generations passed, and new towns were built on the land above the forgotten city. Farmers worked the fields, unaware of the incredible secret that lay just a few meters beneath their feet. Occasionally, someone digging a well or a foundation might find an old piece of a statue or a painted wall, but they didn't know what they had found. They were just strange curiosities from an unknown past, with no one realizing they were clues to a whole buried city. It wasn't until the year 1748 that the story of Pompeii began to resurface. Workers digging the foundations for a new palace for a king stumbled upon something extraordinary. It was not just a few odd objects. It was the top of a building. This discovery sparked huge excitement, and soon, organized excavations began. Archaeologists, who are like detectives of the past, started to carefully dig away the layers of hardened ash. They worked slowly and methodically, uncovering not just buildings, but an entire Roman city, perfectly frozen in the moment it was destroyed. They found streets, houses, shops, and temples all waiting to be explored. As the archaeologists dug deeper, they made some truly amazing discoveries. They found loaves of bread still in the ovens where they had been baking. They found tables set for a meal with food and drink left behind. In the shops, they found tools and goods still on the shelves. These everyday objects gave us a unique glimpse into what life was like for ordinary Romans. It was a treasure trove of information, far more detailed than any history book could ever be. The ash had acted like a protective capsule, stopping air and moisture from decaying things made of wood, cloth, and even food, which almost never survived for so long. One of the most remarkable and poignant discoveries was the hollow spaces left in the hardened ash. Archaeologists realized that these voids were created where the bodies of people and animals had decayed over the centuries. A clever archaeologist named Giuseppe Fiorelli figured out that if they carefully poured liquid plaster into these empty spaces, they could create perfect casts of the people of Pompeii. These plaster casts show the final moments of the victims, capturing their exact positions and even the expressions on their faces as they died. They are a powerful and sad reminder of the human tragedy that took place on that terrible day. So, why is Pompeii so important to us today? It is important because it is like a time machine. When we study history, we often have to rely on books written by important people or look at the ruins of grand temples. But Pompeii shows us something different. It shows us the real everyday life of a whole city. We can see the homes of the rich and the poor, the fast food counters where people grabbed a quick lunch, and even the graffiti they scribbled on the walls. This gives us a much fuller and more colorful picture of the Roman world, teaching us not just about emperors and armies, but about ordinary families, workers, and children. The city teaches us an incredible amount about Roman engineering and city planning. The streets had raised paving stones to allow people to cross without stepping in rainwater and dirt. An impressive system of aqueducts brought fresh water into the city, supplying public fountains, baths, and the homes of the wealthiest citizens. By studying the layout of the houses, the design of the public buildings, and the materials they used, we have learned so much about how the Romans built their world. Pompeii is not a collection of broken ruins. It is a nearly complete blueprint of Roman urban life, preserved for us to learn from. Furthermore, Pompeii serves as a powerful lesson from nature. It reminds us of the immense power of volcanoes and the importance of respecting the natural world. Scientists, known as volcanologists, study Vesuvius and the 79 AD eruption very closely. By analyzing the layers of ash and rock, they can understand how these catastrophic events happen. This knowledge helps them to predict when other volcanoes around the world might erupt, allowing people living nearby to be evacuated to safety. The tragedy of Pompeii helps to save lives today by providing vital clues about how to prepare for and survive similar natural disasters. Today, Pompeii is one of the world's most famous archaeological sites, visited by millions of people every year. Walking through its silent streets is a deeply moving experience. It connects us directly to people who lived 2 millennia ago, making the past feel incredibly real and present. It is a place of great sadness, but also of great wonder and discovery. Pompeii's story is a timeless one, a tale of life, disaster, and rediscovery. It continues to teach us about the richness of human history and the fragility of our own existence in the face of the nature's awesome power.